Welcome, everyone. This is the season 6 grand finale Do It Live podcast. It's been an incredible season. Last night we had our graduation lecture, very heartfelt and inspiring to see a new wave of season 6 graduates making their way to the finish line. I've been very blessed to have seen the progression of all 6 seasons from the beginning to where we are now. And it's a real pleasure to see how streamlined it is and everyone's rapid advancement into bringing autonomy into their lives. My co-host today is Christopher McMillan. He's going to be helping me out with recapping this last season. Chris, how are you doing today?
Hey, everybody. Great to be here. Chris McMillan. I was the shadow host for season 6. It was an honor. It was a pleasure. It was a learning experience. And today I really want to get people's feedback on breakthroughs, moments, obstacles overcome, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, thanks a lot, Joshua. Good times doing it live.
Now, Chris, I'm going to put the spotlight on you first because you stepped up. You volunteered to be the shadow host for this season's lectures. How was that starting off? Any bumps along the road that you hit? And then how did it feel getting to the finish line last night in graduation?
There were a few bumps along the road. Sometimes there was the occasional technical hiccup, not as bad as I thought it would be. I had some trouble, unexpected trouble, and some trouble that I predicted, but overall it was smooth sailing. I think the most challenging thing was just easily overcome with good old cup of coffee. That was just being able to stay up till 3 a.m. and as long as you're psyched for it, it's not that bad. So just being able to play the clips for Richard and just to be there, and most importantly, to be able to get to know the students as we go through. And I'm looking forward to getting to know them even further by now that the season has ended and we're going to start kicking off doing the graduation interviews. A lot of the students I have yet to speak to on a one-on-one basis. Some I have, but still many I haven't. So this will be also a great opportunity for me to step up and really get to know a lot of the students. So I'm looking forward to that as well.
Yeah, the coming weeks are going to be great. We're having the holidays next week and then New Year's thereafter, and we're going to be able to take a little bit of a breather. Not really a break for myself or Richard, but it's time to spend some time with the family, much deserved. And then I'm going to be focusing on going over reports and for Autonomy Limited and examining where our strengths were this last year. Autonomy Limited has been a ever expanding marketing agency where we literally doubled our efforts and our revenue this last season. I've learned revenue is not the same thing as profit. So we're learning as we grow of how to be able to maintain this ever growing agency. But the people that we've been able to help has been just uncountable because of how many projects come our way and us being able to help out clients and students be able to get their tech stack in line and being able to also apply that all those skills to Richard Grove and his production as he can produce content like none other all week long. But then what do we do with that? He was just one man before all of this, and trying to not only capture content, but then distribute it is a huge ordeal. And I've been really proud to be a part of the aligning of the train cars so that we can get this whole thing moving. So
I mean, let's face it, just following Richard when he gets up in the morning with his messed up hair, making a cup of coffee, if you put that on YouTube, it would get thousands and thousands of hits just because he's Richard, right?
Right. And he actually did just film a clip of him making coffee, some cowboy coffee out in the woods. And another huge production is Grand Theft World. And I got a clip right here of our new promotion for Grand Theft World. Behind the scenes, I flew out to Hartford, surprised him for his birthday. We also got some admin work done of setting up a new bank account for Autonomy Unlimited that wasn't part of a massive corporate bank that we had been using. So going towards a smaller bank that shares more of our principles. But when I went and visited him, I was able to capture some content of Grand Theft World right before it started, of Richard talking about Grand Theft World and why it is important for this work to get out there. So let's check this out.
What makes the Grand Theft World podcast unique, invigorating, exciting, and informative? Most other podcasts out there are either doing straight up interviews or they're just covering the daily news. They're covering current events from the day they happened. And that is effective. It's useful. It's a great starting point. And then sometimes these current events change during the week past the first story. So we like to give it a little time. You have to wait till some of the dust settles on these stories in order to give them accurate coverage. And the other thing that's really missing in the media landscape is covering the articles that are coming out every day. That's great. That's necessary. But who's bringing in contextual history so that you can understand what has been going on for decades and decades to lead up to the machinations and actions that we see unfolding today? So what we do here on the podcast is we cover current events. Many of these things are censored, but we wait about a week. As a forensic historian, I focused mainly through my career on the history of globalism and collectivism and things that they call maybe the New World Order. There's a lot of facts to these sort of circumstances, groups, events, activities, working groups that they've had over time. So for Grand Theft World listeners, we not only break down the current events, most of which that are censored during the week, we provide you with contextual history, we give you the source notes, the references, we do deep dives, and this really empowers you with an understanding of context and history so that you can make more informed decisions in your life. There's also a community, a membership where you guys can actually ask questions and we can get into the show and we can share evidence. And there's a town hall weekly for Grand Theft World for those who listen to it and are interested in covering the stories that we don't get to during a 6-hour show. Listening to it an hour a day, you could easily consume the week's news, but you're going to have substance and meaning and context and understanding. And with that, you can make higher quality decisions in your life. So if you're interested in more quality in your life, go to grandtheftworld.com, click podcast at the top, and we'll see you there. Thank you.
So Grand Theft World is so important because not only is Richard capturing the current events and organizing it so that we can make sense of it and not just getting hit by all this random news propaganda, but giving it contextual history, as he said, to really have a deeper understanding of that. Now, because you guys have gone through autonomy and you are understanding funnels and how to make an offer and put an offer out there, Grand Theft World is very important because it's problem focused. Each week, Tony and Richard are highlighting what the problems are with the world so that we can correctly identify the situation we're in. And then people learn about autonomy afterwards. It's very difficult to lead with a solution and try to get credit and build rapport with people when you're out here with a bullhorn saying, I got this great solution. I got this great solution. They have to understand the problem before they can understand the solution for it. So Grand Theft World, we really got going this last season of promoting that out there because we're getting a very excellent stream of traffic coming in from the Grand Theft World podcast. And now we're positioning autonomy as a solution for the centralization issue that we're all experiencing. Has anybody on the call came into autonomy through Grand Theft World and first learned about it that way? I'd love to hear about your experience.
I did technically. I first heard about Grand Theft World through, I think it was the Greater Reset conference, and then I heard about Autonomy through Grand Theft World. So yeah, I actually was originally just trying to sign up for the Grand Theft World community so I could get access to that community, because community stuff was what I had been looking for quite a while. And then I kind of went further and found Autonomy, and I had thought that, maybe that'd be a good thing for me.
Ryan, what led you to Grand Theft World?
The Greater Reset conference. Like I said, Richard gave a talk there, and I had seen it, and I'm like, oh, I'll check this out. So I've seen every single Grand Theft World, like right from like all the way through, right from when it started. So, that was kind of how that happened.
Excellent. So that was, now that you've gone through Autonomy and know about marketing funnels, that was our initial purpose of getting Richard onto that the Greater Reset multi-day event, because he had a solution, and we created this avenue for people to take one step closer, verifying the expertise of Richard, and then learning about the community aspect. And each step of the way, I hoped, Ryan, that you experience, more value being offered, low commitment level to be experiencing that. And then you got to join Autonomy. And how's your experience been now that you're 12 weeks deep from the beginning to end?
It's pretty good. I've ended up applying most of the stuff in Autonomy, like outside of Autonomy rather than in the dojo rooms. So, I mean, in a sense, that's sort of always been how I've been. I just sort of, if I want something to happen, then I just sort of go do it. As I've learned, I guess I'm one of the very rare Ruby types that get in here. From what I understand, you guys say it's like mostly emeralds and what is it, sapphires or pearls or whatever it is. Like the bird one works better for me. So which is probably why that was also explained for the personality types. So in terms of 12 weeks deep, I mean, I've been involved in a lot of stuff that I've built on my own. I've got involved in some other people's groups, and it's been really great. Like the community aspect of people who are actually doing stuff is what I've been looking for quite a while. And in fact, I wanted to build something like this myself like 10 years ago, but certain things in my life kind of made that a bit of an impossibility. So I'm glad it's happening now.
Are you talking about building community, things like that, Ryan?
Yeah, I wanted to, 10 years ago, at least, I wanted to be putting together a group of people who would actually get stuff done. That was the biggest thing I wanted to do, because I saw all this stuff coming like a mile away.
Yeah, so you saw the clouds on the horizon gathering long before a lot of other people did.
And I was like, all right, well, I know that the only thing that's actually going to matter with this is actual on the ground effort to, build stuff. That's the only thing that's ever going to change any of this. So I wanted to put that together, and basically I just wasn't in a position where that was possible. So now that I am, of course, my first thing was to go and find a community who's doing that. And that's how kind of I found the Grand Theft World stuff, and et cetera, et cetera. So as soon as I heard like, oh, there's this guy, and I knew of Richard Grove before this, quite a lot. Like I've known of Tragedy and Hope, of the podcast, and I've known of these things. I've just never really gone and listened to a lot of them. But basically when I heard like, oh, this guy's putting together a think tank, well, that sounds like exactly what I was going to do. So I'll just go join that. And yeah.
Ryan, can you specify something specific you've picked up in Autonomy that you probably may not have had before that you've applied to what you're doing now?
Probably the biggest thing is that I no longer see email lead magnet marketing as like the single definitive scummy thing you can possibly do, that I actually would have completely avoided doing. Because I've encountered it before, and I always will look at it as going, okay, I get that you're just trying to get my information, and I'd look at their various ebooks or whatever people would offer and go, this really isn't worth this isn't worth what I know you're going to be making off of my information, or how you could use it. But because of how that concept can be modified, and how I learned about some of that via Autonomy, now I see that there's ways to do it that are a bit better. where you can actually offer stuff that is much higher quality, stuff that is really worth it to the customer. Because yeah, my previous experience with all that has been very much the opposite.
Yeah, well
Excellent.
done. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been really great to see you grow, and I'm really glad you stuck around, Ryan. And I think you're just getting started with being able to apply everything on your own personal projects and have a community supporting you all the way to success.
Yeah, well, none of us do any of this stuff alone, really. So, it's really great to be here, and I am glad I stuck around. I've been told by other people that they're also glad I stuck around.
Yay!
Yeah. And for people who don't know, essentially, I nearly did not even enter Autonomy. I nearly refunded everything and left to go build my own community because of stuff that happened at the beginning. But that all got sorted out because you guys have very, very good customer service practices, and yeah, so I'm still here and I made it through, and it was worth it.
Yeah, I'm glad you did. For anyone watching this, this is the presentation that Richard put on for the Greater Reset. It's how to escape the rat race. And you can sign up here, universityofreason.com/exit the rat race. You hop on and you can watch this fantastic presentation. And what's so fascinating about this and what I've learned from Richard, and I'm applying it in my own life, is he never does anything for just one purpose. He always has like multiple outcomes for the same amount of effort going into what he's focusing on. And it's really jaw-dropping to see it in practice. And now I'm applying it myself in everything that I do of like, how can
what's the term for that? Is it stacking? What do we call that?
Yeah, it's like getting the greatest return out of what you're putting your time into. And so it's never just a one-one.
Strategic thinking is what I was saying.
Strategic thinking. Yeah. So Richard put together a presentation. He got a speaker spot on Grand Theft World. We were sponsors for that event, and he put on a really excellent presentation of like really describing the need for autonomy and what it offers. And then from there, we got some traffic and some leads, just like you heard from Ryan from there. But then we were able to grab that production, repurpose it. And so now it's a ever living webinar that people can sign up when they go to our sales page for the autonomy course and be able to like understand that top level of reason why people might be interested into joining autonomy. So it's now running and people can continue to get that value all from that one effort that Richard pulled off. All right, I'm going to kind of stick with Richard's efforts for the time being because I got these things queued up, but also a huge accomplishment that Richard got done along with, because he had the support to do so, is his new Slow Your Scroll weekly vlog. He's been talking about this. It's been an idea for a really long time. And now we got all the supportive components to be able to put this together and make this a weekly thing. And I'm almost done watching this episode.
And vice versa.
Let me describe what's going on first. So Richard likes to teach and share something of value while he is doing any sort of production. So just like what we were just talking about, you can come on here and you can see this like awesome video of Richard and his son going out in the woods and doing something outdoorsy. This time he's building a bird's nest for a fire in order to cook some chili. And they go out and collect tinder and then start the fire and then cook the chili. And I'll just play a clip of this.
I'm going to continue to process this, just twist it, give it a quick twist. If we lose the light, the editor will add light in post-production. I'm the editor. All right, so now we got this piece. All right, we get this bird's nesty type thing developing. Put this other into it. Kind of mix it around, build it in, reinforce it. Our char cloth is going to go right in here. Our sparks are going to go in here. We're going to turn it upside down, hopefully let it smoke around a little bit, build up. And if it gets too fiery, I'll just put it into the fire right away. I'm going to save these for a second for when the fire is starting. And
45.83 seconds. Less than a minute.
all right, cool. Lucas, you're just in time. We have our bird's nest. Okay. And what we're gonna do?
I need my coat.
Okay. All right, so we have our bird's nest. I'm actually, instead of going to light, I could light it and stand up and blow through it, but I think we're gonna get fire with this, so I'm just gonna put it there for now.
So not only is, this teaching people important things about the outdoors, this is like a side project that Richard wanted to do. It helps him balance his all the content he does in the office and worrying about current events and things like that. But it's great to see the interaction with him and his son, like a positive, healthy father-son relationship. And then I'm learning things and like seeing gear that I want to get in order to share these experiences with my daughter. But as I said, strategic thinking. So in here, Richard is doing some outdoorsy stuff, but then we have been able to go in and share clips of what's going on in his week. So between Grand Theft World, between what's going on in Autonomy, we now have an outlet for highlights that's happening each week by week. This took us literally like 2 years to get in operation with Autonomy Unlimited, providing the framework, plenty of autonomy volunteers that are going and capturing clips each week. As there's at least 20 hours of content that Richard's doing a week between all his productions. So going out and finding the choice little nuggets in there. Now we have this vlog that he's doing, Slow Your Scroll, that he's then intermixing his highlights along with teaching people about the outdoors. Rich, is there anything you want to add about that before we move forward?
It mostly took 2 years because of me. Sometimes I procrastinate a little bit and need to think things through, but it's all come together really nicely. And I got vlog 4 here in front of me, and I got more where that comes from. So it's easy to do.
Yeah, once we have the systems in place, and then it gets easier and easier each week. Everybody gets more proficient in what they're doing, and then being able to just turn these things around quicker and quicker. So really excited that got up and going. I think it's going to be a huge addition to the content that's being shared and put out there. Another thing that I'm quite proud of that we got going in the last 3 months. This is the preview of Grand Theft World. Each week, we've been banned off of YouTube. Like, that's no surprise from that. So we have Richard Grove's YouTube page, and each week I've taken it upon myself to go through and grab a preview of the 6-hour podcast, and then we're able to publish that on YouTube. It has to be very carefully selected out of what is being captured from the overall podcast so that it is clean enough for YouTube distribution. But now we're able to share people some clips from Grand Theft World and show them where the full episode is. So essentially going fishing on YouTube. And I'll just play like a minute of this to give you a peek at what this looks like. We usually put some unique highlights and also maybe some things that didn't make it in the show. So there's always like good nuggets. And I think this is worth watching on its own, a 15-minute variation of the 6-hour, 7-hour podcast.
Welcome to the Grand Theft World podcast, hosted and sponsored by GrandTheftWorld.com, a place, it's a one-stop shop for your freedom-related daily ongoings. This show is a weekly rundown of the news of the week, and then we're going to give you some contextual history, some deep dives into primary sources and documents to embolden you during the next week of this precipitation of toxic media out there, people trying to get you all scared, get you to do things without informed consent. We can put a stop to that, but it takes a little informed, couple hours of your week looking into the facts, such as our first story that we're going to cover later on tonight that I'm going to talk about right now. Pfizer. It's not just the company you see on TV sponsoring all your favorite news channels.
Is brought to you by Pfizer.
No. They have a long and it's tedious criminal history over several decades. We shouldn't be looking at Pfizer as this benevolent, charitable organization saving lives around the world. Maybe we should start with the grammar of who is Pfizer, what have they done, and why are they doing the things that they're doing these days?
So what has been released already has been basically the first 2.5 months after the emergency.
So this is something that I've taken charge of. As at the start of the show, Richard's introduction now is him highlighting what the show is going to contain. I capture that intro, and then I later that night or the next morning insert the clips that he's been highlighting. So we've been able to be really efficient at the turnover of this. We meet Monday mornings for our Autonomy Unlimited admin meetings. So I'm able to just play him my best shot at stuffing the right clips into those sections. And it's been, we've been getting better and better. This last week, he just had like one suggestion on the overall 15 minutes of the production. I'm hoping to, get this system going and formulate it in order to pass it on to somebody, because I don't need to be adding this to my workload. But it's been really great to, be able to get some Grand Theft World content out there on YouTube without it being, being deleted.
Well, that could be a Macmillan thing, or I heard that Ryan listens to every show, right? People who listen to every Grand Theft World episode, you got talent, you got attention, and you probably found some hot clips that you might want to clip and share. Like, that's a thing we pay people for, gathering the nuggets of my productions every week. So
that's right.
That ties to revenue, and that's what I teach everybody. It's like, find things that are necessary that tie to revenue, and that's how people get paid.
It's just an example of how Autonomy Unlimited lives up to its name, unlimited, right?
Yeah.
Opportunities unlimited. They just keep presenting themselves.
Chris, did you edit video before you got into this course?
No, that was something completely new to me, was video editing. Even up to the time, do you remember when we did the roundtable discussion with Corbett and Richard Gage and yourself about 9/11? I remember specifically at that time, Richard Gage asked me, he goes, "Oh, dude, I didn't want to mention that guy's name. Can you edit it out?" And that was, and then you guys were like, "Oh, you go ahead and do it." And I had it's the simplest operation from a video editing point of view. I had no idea how to do it, and I was messing it up. In the end, you guys had to do it for me. But then that was the key moment there. I said, well, I got to learn this. So I downloaded an editor, started doing the tutorials, started listening to the tutorials by Tyler and the guys in Autonomy, and that's how that started. So video editing is definitely one of the many skills that I've learned since all this began that has made a huge difference for me, because now I can create my own material. I can make my own whatever videos I want just because I can, and put it out there, add the affiliate link of whatever is being talked about or associated with, and I can do that anytime I want. So video editing skills, I had none. I'd never even heard, wasn't even on my radar. I didn't even heard of it. Didn't know how important it was. Something I took for granted. You see something that looks good, you don't think about what goes on behind the scenes and the effort that goes into it. So there.
Yeah, Chris, it's been great to see you step up, gain those skills, and you are always like one of the first with your hand up to volunteer, and it's been very appreciative to get some support. My brain typically thinks that like, well, I can just get it done, so I'm just going to do this, and I can't continue to operate and run a marketing agency thinking I can do it all. So having people that I can trust and depend on to take those tasks and run with them has been a huge help.
Well, and Chris, you didn't know, so you came into the course, you learned how to do an interview, and from that you made your own podcast. but that's not stuff that really pays for itself. That's like hobby. That's fun. It's it's invigorating. But then you started doing the video clips and the editing, and that stuff you actually started to get paid for. So
Yeah,
what's the difference? What's the difference between knowing how to do the one thing and not, like, you needed to know how to edit in order to do your interviews anyway, right?
exactly.
So
And I learned how to build a
do
web page.
Yeah.
And now mainly affiliate marketing kicks in. So the interviews and all that was just, it's something I wanted to do. Truthconduit.com was building a base to have a platform. And now that I've got my own platform, the opportunity is there to add value to, and that's where all the skills kick in. And there's a lot of overlap with my website and Autonomy, of course. If you look at my website, it's all Autonomy. So
well, and then you took it upon yourself to shadow host. You didn't really know how to shadow host before this season, but that didn't stop you from learning, right?
exactly, yeah. I remember what was it? Before all this kicked off, Joshua asked me to step in with Benny Wills one day, and I screwed it all up. Benny, I think it was his final class as well, and he was like, "All right, play it, Chris." And of course, nothing was happening, and I was thinking, "Yes, failing my way forward." Sorry, Benny.
That's good. I recommended you for that job. I'm glad you failed on the fly and you were able to get up and get it done.
Yeah, and also Verstappen's course, that was the real training. That's where I really started to get my feet wet, was with hosting Verstappen's course with Joshua. That was great experience.
When people are in a pinch and they need help, I don't promise that Chris is going to get it right, but I promise that Chris isn't going to quit on you. That's it. And that's all Benny needed to know, right? Good enough. That's, and that's what people need to know about anybody that they're working with. We're all going to make mistakes, and it's what we do and how we respond to those mistakes. But the bottom line is, if you're working with somebody that won't quit on themselves, they won't quit on you, you're good. You'll get through it.
Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, it's been a great ride. It's been life-changing, really.
Another good project I want to highlight is Phoenix and James Jordan have started Liberty Radio, which is a podcast offshoot from Grand Theft World. Phoenix, you down to kind of sharing where this idea came from, and then how the process has been of getting it up? You guys are what, like 7 episodes deep now?
Yeah, we're week 7. It was a project that I've been trying to form for, 6-7 years. I originally had, it's gone through a few iterations. It was originally just a float live stream where it was literally just pure music, and we didn't do stories. But when early on in the season, I think it was one of the Q&As, I had mentioned how I've had this idea to start a radio station, and James real quick jumped on it, and he's really been, as far as I can tell, like the superstar behind GTW Liberty Radio. He does all of the show notes, all of the images for the thumbnails. That's the term. And we really just started bringing both of our music preferences together, and almost all of my stuff is exclusively like anarchist, liberty oriented. And a lot of his stuff I wasn't really familiar with, but it was still of the same vein. And having that mesh, I thought, was just really amazing. And we really counterbalance one another. And I'm really, really happy with the direction that GTW has been going in. We've got several sponsors, and it's taken off like I never really expected it to. Now viewership is whatever, it's episode 7. As long as we're consistent, I'm not really worried about that. Not to mention, I'm not doing it for viewers. I'm doing it to make sure that the content gets out there and that artists have a platform. And once the value gets built and word gets spread, I have no doubts that it'll become a mainstay, a staple in people's podcast rotations. And yeah, that's about it as far as GTW Liberty Radio.
Phoenix, would you say this is a result of Autonomy and joining the Autonomy community?
In the form that it's in, yes, and as good that it's been produced, yes. Because I've done it a couple times on my own, and it wasn't it wasn't the product that we're putting out. I never was able to secure any affiliates, and I never. I mean, back in the day, I had a partnership with Road to Autonomy, the magazine.
Let me correct your grammar there, Phoenix. You said I wasn't able. Should be I haven't yet been able to, or I haven't yet established. See, we're going to change the past simple to the present perfect because it's still going, still ongoing there.
That's correct. That's correct. I hadn't taken the time to put that stuff into motion. You know, I think I may have put a product out there, but I don't think it would be as good as it is now. And it wouldn't have a lot of the, it wouldn't have had James, you know, and I think James has been a huge, you know, a huge input and a huge value to the project.
So did you meet James in Autonomy?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So the networking has been one aspect for you where Autonomy made a difference, would you say?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. The networking aspect behind Autonomy, I think, is, you know, third number one value. Because I think that the number one value that people derive from Autonomy is the ability to keep pushing forward through adversity and complexity, and that never quitting attitude. I think that's the number one value, beyond even the knowledge of the history of the New World Order or any of the sales or marketing stuff. The ability to just never quit on yourself, I think, is the number one value behind Autonomy. So
well done. Yeah, I'm glad you've gotten through it. Congratulations. I mean, yeah, it's going to be, and now this is just the beginning. Like I said, when you get through the course, and now you've joined the community really, and you have access to everything forever, everything, and all the new people coming through. This is just like, you know, Joshua said it and Richard said it. This is just the beginning, man.
And Chris knows because he just graduated for the 6th time. He's a slow learner.
Well, you know, speaking about the never quit attitude, we were doing the sales call. I think it was last week or the week before, and I was with Cody, and you know that I was having some issues with connectivity, and you know, you were like, you know, just go with it. Oh well, it doesn't matter. Good. You should be failing. It should be hard. And you know, I was ready to quit. I was like, oh, somebody help me, somebody jump in here because my connection's gonna fall off. And you're like, no, just keep going. And we pushed through it, and we overcame that complexity. And it was one of the best sales calls I'd done in forever. And we were able to actually address some real issues that Cody had, as far as more than just being able to sell the product. It was, okay, where are we going? What's the next step? And you know, I think that was like one of the best experiences that I've had throughout Autonomy so far. Was just that sales call was really one of the major points in my Autonomy experience. That coupled with you know, my understanding of how I was layering my my goals and my what's the term about putting your, not principles, but it's another P word.
Priorities.
Yeah, I was putting my lower tier priorities above my higher priorities, and you know, really getting to see that and have that, you know, spelled out for me, and be able to take that and really integrate that information into who I was and move forward with it really was a huge breakthrough for me as well.
Yeah, that part was probably one of my like impactful moments of this last season is listening to you and Richard go through that and your personal situation that you were in, because it really, you know, I don't think I was holding on to things as tightly as you were, but I've thought about it multiple times outside of that class, and how am I prioritizing things that I value in my life, because, you know, the whole mask mandate and all that gibberish am I taking away from my family in areas that I don't need to be able to have the best time with my family.
Yeah, you know, just being able to reevaluate where my principles lied, and putting my family at the principal position, because you know, I thought I was, I was under the impression that holding on to that mask mandate and holding strong to that, in my opinion, before that was an act of putting my family first. And really, it was just having the opposite effect.
Yeah. Well, you now have Liberty Radio Podcast as part of the menu inside of the Grand Theft World Library of Cognitive Liberty. This is where Grand Theft World episodes lie. And so people can click here. I know it's been kind of hard to find, keep track of your guys' podcasts each week, but now on my phone or on the website, you can click here and we are bringing in all of your episodes into Kajabi, the platform that we're using. So this should help out with your visibility and the people that are able to find you.
That is awesome, man. That's great. Thank you so much, guys.
Well, proud of you. I'm glad you guys stuck to it. You know, I knew it was a great idea, but then it was, I was waiting to see how long you guys could maintain it. And because you got to really, it's about birthing a new project into the world and keeping that momentum going so it can be a force of its own moving forward. So nice work getting to episode 7. I'm looking forward to episode 50 here this next year.
Yeah, I know within the next few weeks we've got an interview with Tatiana Moroz. Next week we're going to be featuring the interview with Road to Autonomy Silas and Jackie K. And so once I get that interview with Tatiana down, I've got no other interviews lined up, so I can just start focusing on lining up new artists and interesting people. I really want to focus on like artists because that's like the whole crux of it. But if we get a Stefan Verstappen or a Richard Grove on, that couldn't hurt. So
well, the other thing you can do is be an incubator. Let's say that we have a client and they're kind of hesitant about social media and doing interviews. Like you're an incubator platform where we can send them before we send them to Ernie and before they go out and deal with people that we don't know, So yeah. The first step is practicing in the dojo. The second step is like doing it live in an incubator, which is like a live platform, but it's like more for your practice than it is for audience reach.
I dig that. Yeah. I love, one of my absolutely favorite things to do is just help people grow and learn. So I would totally be open to that. I get a lot of value and just personal satisfaction from helping other people understand things and get a better grasp and open themselves up to learning and growth. So that would be totally awesome with me. Yeah.
And that tells both of us that you should structure your service offerings around this thing that you're passionate about and can do easily and other people find valuable.
I've been thinking about how to what the value offering would be between the skills that I have, and I would really like to set up some type of mentoring or moderation or dispute resolution service. Anything along those lines have really been something that I would love to get into, and I would need to do a little bit more research. But I know as far as dispute resolution services, there's no licensing requirements. There's no government barriers to entry to that marketplace. So that's a really nice appealing aspect of it.
Yeah, that's just results driven, and you can do that with testimonials.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a huge need for that within the Liberty community or freedom community and just general community as well. And it's a very high paying position as well. So I mean, I've known of dispute resolution and arbitration and mediation services that charge upwards of $500 to $800 an hour, and I wouldn't need to be anywhere near that, especially because I don't think my level would be at that par. But because a lot of it has to do with certain legal aspects, and at that level, you're dealing with multi-million-dollar arbitration between companies, which should be based in some form of legality because that's the world that they exist in. But I would prefer to focus on existing in the world of anarchists and libertarians and individuals that aren't really concerned with that just want to solve their problems peacefully. And for that, the value would fluctuate, but I think on a situation by situation basis, because not every situation is going to last as long. But that really depends on how much I'm valuing my time in that position. So figuring that out is yet to come. But
there's no shortage of conflict out there, even with people that are actualized and are able to keep a good check on themselves, it still happens. And especially in the liberty movement, people are working on themselves. They're not, distracting themselves or escaping through drugs and alcohol. And that's where the real conflict is addressed, because if somebody's trying to avoid the conflicts or distract themselves from actually addressing them, you're not going to get much progress done. So the liberty movement really is the area of where improvement can take place and where models or methods can be applied in conversation to actually have lasting change and affect their relationships.
It's such a natural thing, freedom is such a natural good thing, and it's drawing the best of humanity right now. And the people are coming out of the woodwork. I've been so impressed with what we're calling the freedom community. We've had problems kind of defining that. Why don't we just call it beyond the wall? Free folk beyond the wall. I don't know. Maybe Pete was onto something.
Well, one of the things that I see as a real opening in that market is the fact that people are creating these communities. And as Stefan has his little methods to weed out psychopaths, but even if you're weeding out psychopaths, the individuals that aren't psychopathic and aren't sociopathic that we're building our communities with, we're still broken, we're still traumatized in so many ways that are so rarely ever addressed. And having a method within these communities of addressing that proactively, or at least having that option there for individuals to address their traumas proactively, I think is really going to be a cornerstone of these parallel societies and parallel communities surviving and thriving into the future, past whatever crazy ass government mandates come down the road. So, I mean, there's a huge need for it.
Yeah, and definitely within the freedom minded community, there is a lot of diversity as well. And that's a great thing, because as long as everyone has in common the fundamental philosophy and belief that all action should be voluntary, it can't go that wrong, can it?
Yeah, you'd be surprised. I mean, the adhering and understanding the NAP, and the philosophy of liberty is really just a base level. You can still be a jerk and a disrespectful individual and a toxic person while you're still being voluntary and not violating people's rights. That's not the end all be all of it. And I don't think that's the most ideal way of organizing society, but it is one, and it may not be the most functioning. But there's always better ways. But yeah,
the question did come up. I was talking to Patrick Smith one time of Disenthrall. I see him every once in a while because he's part of the Dallas group. And we were talking about that. If you took a bunch of anarchist leftists and anarcho-capitalists on the same plot of property, how would they get along? And the question, would they get along? And the question was, yeah, of course. Of course they would. They would, because they would come to a mutual agreement and they would decide, okay, over here, you do this, you do that, and it would be fine. But not to divert us from deep philosophical discussions at the moment. But that is what autonomy is, though. You could argue autonomy is just that, a culture of excellence, no masters, no slaves.
Yeah. Doesn't mean there's no conflict. That means that you just work your way through it. You're taking responsibility, you're working your way through it when it comes up.
Well, yeah, and just like with understanding liberty and freedom, it's a progression, it's a gradient of your conflict resolution skills as well, and trying to be self-aware and understanding what your own traumas are and what triggers you to respond less than adequately. People need to be aware of that, and without doing the work, you have to have some source of bouncing those things off of. And I don't know exactly where I am when it comes to having those skills, but those are definitely something that I would love to develop and offer to the market as well. So
cool. Well, I'm glad you said it out loud, because now it's out there and there's plenty of people that are going to be able to hold you to this.
That's for sure. There's certainly no shortage of accountability within autonomy. That's one of the greatest aspects as well.
Well, Phoenix, keep growing in the right direction. Really great to hear about your progress and your projects. I wanted to hear from James Mello and let us know how this season's been for you. Is this your first season in autonomy?
No, I came late into season 5. This is the first season that I claimed as my own.
Nice.
And in season 5, I joined in week 9, and it was like I was a deer in headlights. It was just a lot. They say drinking through a fire hose. It was exactly that. And so this season, my breakthrough actually came when I actually did a Do It Live with Thomas Friedman. He asked me to do like a backup scenario where if his internet went down or something happened with this Do It Live, he did an incredible Do It Live where he took Grand Theft World clips and put them in such a presentation. It was almost like a perfect presentation with a theme. And I was just so thrilled to be part of that. I came through Benny Will's class, Parhesia, just to be able to speak and really speak my mind in the Q&A and actually participate in these sessions. And throwing myself into that Do It Live with, not with Thomas, where he gave such an incredible presentation, I could just be free to and relax to speak my mind. Even a book came up that I was reading. I got to actually focus in on a passage of the book that gave value to the conversation at the time. It was absolutely supercharging for me. It's when everything kind of clicked. It's when I started to really participate. I jumped into the blueprint calls. It was an amazing, amazing experience. So if you're in season 7 or you're about to come into Autonomy, do the Do It Lives and just put yourself out there in that format. If you do it in a panel, you co-host. If you don't have time, just do it as a side, co-host. It was just an amazing experience for me.
I think you just answered my question, James, but what would you say has been your biggest takeaway from season 6?
My biggest takeaway was the sales and the way to actually actively listen and talk to people in a different way than I'm used to. In my work life and out here, where I am, you don't get that type of communication with people. You don't get the actively listening to what they say, put it back to them in a way that you understand. At work and in my business life, I just, talk out them. I'm an accountant. I just give them facts and data and what they need. It's a whole different mind shift. It takes a lot to get used to too. It takes a growth.
Don't you have a podcast, James?
No, I don't now. I don't. But
you and I are on for next week, aren't we?
We are, yeah.
All right. Graduation interview time.
And I've decided on my own, the computer I had, I pulled it out, I dusted off, I used the work computer for my daily routine, just little things. But I've decided to go into a blog, and I can't believe the accountability coaches were this year. That's an incredible feature. Also, the blueprint calls on Wednesday, where we all got together in the Discord and practiced the blueprint calls, was just another incredible feature that gave me a lot of confidence to engage people. So
I'm gonna put you on the spot, James. Trigger complexity time. This is one of your graduation interview questions. Is how would you define the art of sales now?
The art of sales is actively adding value and seeking to understand what the customer wants, who you're talking to, what they want. It's not about giving them something that you have pre-programmed for them. It's more about asking them how you can fit and service what they need. And if they don't need that, then you give them to somebody else and feel free. It's more about the networking and the contact and constantly sifting through those who really can take value from what you're offering and how you can mold your product or your service to what the market wants.
I don't know, man. I prefer the jerky boy style of sales, Hey, you buy this car or I'll smash your head through the windshield, man. Maybe I still have a lot to learn.
That's spot on, James. And did I hear, were you part of the accountability coaching that was going on this season?
I am. I have Jennifer. We have our second session on Tuesday, in fact.
Ah, fantastic. I'd love to hear.
It was fantastic.
Yeah.
Really good.
So this season, we started a beta program, and it was only available to a select few, but we now have accountability coaches that are putting structure and methods into place, and we're going to be able to offer this for the season 7 students that purchase the advanced package or higher, and you'll be able to get your own accountability coach. And James, how do you see this making progress in your life?
With the accountability coach?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't have anything. I couldn't choose anything. I had goals that I wanted to sort of do, and I had a list of things I wanted to do. But now I'm actually going out and buying the tool sets I'm going to need to focus on 1 or 2 goals and then whittle that down in the coming months. And so I can't wait. She's really good at providing the tools to put me through the fog, basically. Bring me through the fog of just having too much overwhelm, because I've got a lot of life. It's hard to whittle things down. So she's already, I can tell she's the one to go with. So I'm really happy. That's a great feature this year. I'm so happy that happened.
Fantastic. It feels really good to hear that. It's been an idea of Richard. He knew it was a missing component, or one that would greatly accelerate anyone's progress in getting autonomy for themselves. And so I'm really glad to hear you're getting results so quickly. It was just like a pebble that needed to get out of the wheel's way, huh? So that you can gain some momentum and get going.
Right. That's exactly right.
Fantastic. Well, thanks, James, for sharing your experience. I also wanted to bring it over to a person that I work closely with, Kara Shepard. She is my right-hand woman in Autonomy Unlimited. I get to see her multiple times throughout the week in meetings and in our project planning. And she's our lead copywriter. Most of the copy you've seen in the Autonomy funnel, your experience coming into Autonomy, she's had a direct hand in helping out. She also stepped up this last season and became one of those accountability coaches. Kara, how has your experience on the other side of taking on that teaching role and being able to help others affected your life?
It has been so rewarding so far. Thank you. And thanks for that wonderful introduction, Joshua. You're so kind. Accountability coaching has been really fulfilling. I've been on the other side of it where, in past seasons, there was kind of some self-organization and some little accountability groups were popping up. So I was a part of a couple of those. I still participate in one. We meet every Monday, but this was like an opportunity to, just put on, when I'm in the group on my own, I'm thinking about all of my own things, we're strategizing together, but I'm really focused on my own goals. This is my chance to just really put all of the spotlight on the other people that are in my group. So I've got 4 people in my group. We've had our one-on-ones, and now we're in, this will be coming up on our week 3. And it's been really amazing so far, just to already just after a couple weeks, really seeing the momentum pick up and being able to just help out and problem solve. I'm a Pearl personality. I'm a supporter. I love supporting other people and, helping out and problem solving. So it's been a joy for me on the other side. And I definitely want to do it again in future seasons.
Fantastic. I'm glad you stepped up. I know your plate was full already with all the work I throw at you each week. But glad to hear that it's so rewarding and it wasn't just, taking on more than you could do and, slowing you down in all other areas of your life, but it sounds like it's really been rewarding.
Yes, it has.
Well, Kara, what else have you been up to this last season? I know aside from helping out all our Autonomy Unlimited clients that have just a wide spectrum of industries that they're helping out with, what have you personally been able to accomplish in this last season?
Well, it was a long time coming, but I just got to debut my brand new copywriting course. It's called Copywriting with Excellence. So fundamental practices to help you build trust with your audience and keep it. I was listening earlier, to Ryan was talking about the lead magnets, these things, and just kind of that. Basically, what I see it as is marketing leaving a really bad taste in your mouth, and that was totally me. Meant years ago. I never thought that I would have found myself in marketing. I love writing and I love people. And it was just once I got into working with Joshua, just started seeing these things in a different light and seeing it as, these are marketing, just like other things. It's a tool and it's up to the user on how that tool is used and applied. And so we can use it, especially in our community. We have amazing messages. We have great products in our community, new businesses popping up, lots of amazing people doing wonderful things, and they need a way to get their messages out in front of the right people. And so this is where I found a lot of purpose in the work that I do and being able to help craft those messages, get them out in front of the right eyes. So my course has been a way now to take all of the stuff that I've learned over the last like 5 years and compile it all in a way that is easy to understand and to try and help anybody be able to go and do this for themselves or become a freelancer or come and work on the team. You know, there's lots of possibilities with it. So I'm pretty much taking everybody from square one with this, like right from the very beginning of what is copywriting, all the way into, you know, starting to get into the nitty gritty of, you know, web copy and landing pages and email marketing. And what's really cool is the course is not done yet. This course is going to continue to grow over time. So as I continue to learn more things, and honestly, there's still a whole bunch of stuff that I know that I haven't, that I just haven't compiled into more lessons yet. So still have a lot more to share. So this course is going to continue to grow over time. I've also got lots of practice assignments because, you know, we can read and watch and, you know, listen to stuff on these things all day long, but the real growth comes from actually getting into it, taking action and doing the work. So there's lots of practice assignments there throughout. And my last part of my pitch is there's 2 levels to the course. And so the the first level is the scribe. And that's just essentially, you can get access into the course, watch all of the lessons, get all the practice assignments, do it all on your own. Next level up is the Wordsmith. And this includes, you're able to not only do the practice assignments, but turn them into me. And I will provide personalized feedback on all of the exercises that you turn in, and actually up to 2 rounds of feedback. So you could do a practice exercise, get some feedback from me, make some corrections, and then turn it back into me a second time for another round of feedback. So.
Well, it's been a very long time coming. I know you've had this idea for a while now, and it's so great to see it now coming into fruition. I know I've been rooting for you week by week to get this accomplished. And I just, you know, scrolled through all the content in there. That's a ton of content, Kara. So
it really is.
Yeah. So congratulations on getting to this point. You've really applied what you learned in autonomy and what we do in our marketing agency, and prioritize that time for yourself in order to create a reoccurring revenue stream that is not tied to your time. How important or what kind of accomplishment is that for you?
Oh, huge. I mean, so I'm a season 2 graduate. So this would have been 2019. So 2019, I was still working most of my time in my restaurant job. Was doing little bits of freelancing on the side. By the end of 2019, end of season 2, I launched my business, Authentic Expressions. So that was when I got my first business license. Then, you know, Autonomy Unlimited began in 2020. And, you know, just a few months into 2020, I was able to completely quit my restaurant job, start doing this full time. And now, you know, I've been able to develop this course, and now I've got this accountability stuff. I mean, I really feel like my life is just really enriched and full, and yeah, definitely a huge sense of accomplishment. I've grown a ton since season 2. And so, you know, like I've heard it said more than once, you know, the fun's not over. Just, you know, we're at graduation. I mean, this stuff has really just began. Like where I'm at now, season 6, compared to where I was at graduating season 2 is huge, you know, huge amount of growth in that time. So I love how it's set up in this course and this community of that lifetime access, and the growth just keeps on going.
Kara, I've just thought of a perfect song to go with your future intro and outro. You know the old 80s song by the Human League? And it goes, I was working as a waitress in a cocktail bar. That much is true. Do you remember that? Yeah.
I think so.
Hey, see? You're part of this community. You're going to get suggestions coming at you from all different directions.
I love it. I love it.
Hilarious. Well, yeah, congratulations again, Kara. And I know it's a huge accomplishment for you. And I know you're not done growing. So I'm excited to see what this next year has in store for you.
Thank you.
And for those listening on the replay of this, you can now go to the Autonomy Agora marketplace. This is another huge accomplishment that we got done this last year. It's at marketplace.autonomyagora.com. And we have helped out so many people with building courses and being able to organize knowledge in a way to be able to share it with others, that we decided to just make one page that we can feature and showcase all these great courses that are helping liberty exist for our kids in the future. And so Kara's course will soon be on here, but and by the time you're watching this on the replay, you'll be able to like click the link down below and go find Kara's course. But we also have like our flagship course, Autonomy by Richard Grove. We just got done this last season, The Complete Guide to Forming Communities with Stefan Verstappen. This has been a fantastic project to be a part of. Stefan was about to write a book on the subject, and we convinced him to turn it into a course. And he ghosted us for a while, but then came back around after he was able to.
That's technically because we allowed him to convince himself. That's why it took him 6 months. If we had used special powers, we could have done it in the meeting, but that's not how we do business.
Right.
We simply showed him the potential. He was in disbelief. He had to go out and check our references places, and he came back. That's how it works.
And he came back and was ready to add this new revenue stream to his life. And so we took 8 weeks and filmed it in the community and was able to capture the content that was going to be just in this book that was waiting to be completed. And now for the last 3 months, this course has been able to help people out to start forming communities because this information is desperately needed. I personally have put this content to use in my local community, and we just started last week our own private mutual aid group that a few autonomy students are a part of. But we're now putting this into action, and it feels really good to have some installation being built around my family so that we have other families to share resources, strategies, and support each other in these turbulent times. So definitely we're checking out this course. Below this is the Autonomy Critical Thinking Trifecta course. This is a freebie and can get you started on critical thinking method applied to your life. And a deeper dive of that is the trivia method taught by Cody Myers. This is, I think 10 hours long, and he was taught by Gino Denning, one of the OGs of the trivia method, and is able to demonstrate how to utilize these tools in your life to discern truth. Next up, we got John Bush. We have helped him out with several of his projects now. He just got done with the Exit and Build Land Summit. Huge amount of information is in there. I think he got like 15 hours of content in those 2 days, but you can hop on and learn how to exit the cities and go build with a community. Also, we have Michael Badenrick. I think this was in season 2. We created this course, bringing Michael Badenrick into the community, and he did his 8-hour course on how to know and defend your rights. This dude is a badass. He knows the Constitution inside and out, and he will teach you how to, he will teach you how to utilize your rights, your naturally born rights in any situation that you're in.
And he's very funny too, without trying to be.
Yeah. He wears cowboy boots and usually he's packing. 7 steps to escape the rat race. This is a new course that was put on by Autonomy graduate Lisa Manfredi and Kaysen. I've applied this in my life. I couldn't believe I am where I am now with investment money, with whole life insurance for my whole family that I'm able to be my own bank with. If you're interested in any of those things that I just said, check out this free course. It's well worth the cost of admission. And I'm now learning how to budget and applying that into my financial miseducation that I never got.
Yeah, my family and I as well, we've got the whole life insurance package, because of Lisa, and I definitely sleep better at night knowing that we've done that for sure.
Yeah, I actually just made my first withdrawal for my own life insurance plan and borrowed money from myself to purchase a computer upgrade, and it worked out. Got the money fast, and now, I don't have to ask a bank for a loan. It's pretty amazing.
Dude, next time you do that, let me know. Pull out another 20 for me for some barbecue or something. Come on, hook me up.
This was our first course, I think, that we did with a guest. No, Michael Badenrick we did first, but the Holistic Self-Assessment is a book that Derek Bros wrote, and it helped me get clear on who I was. And we reached out to him and helped turn that into a course. It's not that huge of a time investment, but really gave clarity about who I was, what principles and goals and habits I wanted to be identified with. Next up, Parrhesia, The World Needs Your Voice with Benny Wills. Benny Wills is a season 3 graduate who had this idea to teach a course. Rich gave him the name of the course because it was just sitting there and was a perfect fit. And Benny Wills just got done with his 2nd season of Parrhesia. You heard from James earlier that came and found autonomy through Parrhesia. And James, can you give a little idea of what Parrhesia did for you in your life?
Yeah, I love the course. It was when I went through Parrhesia, he gives each week he gives a different exercise, and it's all in a group setting like this, like autonomy. It's patterned after that. So you get to create your own poetry. You get to do your own exercises and then bring it to the group in specific times. And just the way it flows and the way the group gets together, it's really a nice environment and a confident building environment to project yourself. And it's surprising what comes out of poetry. I'd never engaged poetry in that way that was informative to myself. And Benny's brilliant, the way he moves it along. It's brilliant.
Excellent. Yeah, it was really fun to help him build that course. It was his content, but we gave him the framework and the structure on how to be able to mimic what we're doing here in Autonomy so that he can create a revenue stream in his life. He left LA before all the mess that we're currently experiencing, but needed to figure out a way to take care of his family. And I was pleased to hear he just let us know that he reached his year goal, which was to make $50,000 with his course in the first year, and he made that this last year. So we help him out with his marketing and continued strategy with that. And it was great to hear an Autonomy graduate, knock it out of the park like that. He's building a house, so I'm pretty sure all that money's gone already, but it's brings me joy knowing that our efforts are helping him support his family. Last up on the Agora marketplace. Oh no, there's more, man. And there's still a few we haven't even got on here yet. So we've been helping out season 6 student Etienne de la Boete with his book sales, Government: The Biggest Scam in History Exposed, and his experience with working with Autonomy. I remember I wrote this down, and I'm going to have a clip of this, but Howard describes how he has increased his sales of his book by 300% since working with us. He has huge ideas and plans, and Autonomy Limited does our best on being able to keep up with him and fulfill what he's looking to accomplish. But go check out his book if you don't have it already. I got it on my bookshelf, and it's a great introduction to be able to give to your friends on the world that we live in. Last up, how to set up your crypto wallet in 4 simple steps with John Bush. We helped him produce this course. We gave him the framework. We showed him how to lay it out. He knocked out the content, and it's honestly like a really easy to understand way of how to set up a crypto wallet. I have a crypto wallet now because of it, but I'm still learning on what to do with it and who I can exchange money with, but it's a great place to get started. So make sure to go to marketplace.autonomyagora.com in order to check out these fantastic courses to start getting some freedom and autonomy in your life. And we hope that you are able to join in Autonomy, because all these courses are being born there, and all the students are able to have the first experience of these courses being built, because we share them in the community first.
Joshua, you want me to call out a random season 6 student?
Do it.
Let's see. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Reese. I'm going to call out Reese if he's around, if he can unmute and talk. He's like going. Where's Reese?
Let's start off with Cody Myers. He's got his camera on.
Yeah, Cody's got his camera on there. Cody, what's going on, man? What would you say has been your biggest takeaway from Autonomy since you joined?
Yeah, so when I joined Autonomy, like I kind of got this metaphor of I left the job that was kind of crushing me a little, and then essentially took a 2-year-long nap and woke up in this giant fog bank with no idea how to navigate, and realized I needed help lifting the fog without even being able to articulate that. And Autonomy got that articulation out and lifted the fog, and now I can see that I'm in this valley with a small hill right in front of me and mountains in the distance.
That's a nice metaphorical description. I like that, man. I like that blanket too. Where are you located?
I'm in Phoenix.
What do you got a blanket over you for? It must be 100 degrees now in Phoenix.
It's 60 degrees. It's freezing outside.
That's not even that's not even cold either.
Yeah,
Cody, how did you find Autonomy? How did it fall into your lap?
Yeah, so my mom listens to the Grand Theft World podcast. She's done so for a while, and other of Richard's stuff. And we've been sort of a freedom-oriented family for a while, but I just haven't been moving forward with my life. And she, at some point, heard the course through Grand Theft World, brought it up to me, and I found it sufficiently curious in the obstacle course, and then just kind of thought about what it would mean to actually get into a course like this. And the rest is history.
Where's your mom? Is she going to join Autonomy as well?
She might join next season. It's still kind of, we're not sure what the story is. For her, time is the issue.
I've heard, okay, it's pretty common for a spouse to get a man or woman to get their spouse into Autonomy. That's happened quite a bit. But as far as I know, that would be a first for for the mother to introduce the son to Autonomy, but then the son brings the mother into Autonomy. So you can be a trailblazer for us.
Sweet.
Well done, Cody. Well, congratulations on getting through the course. You've been very fantastic at participating, unmuting, asking questions. I mean, that is the way forward. That's just get over your fear, just do it and unmute and start talking to Richard and everybody else, networking, doing the work. I know you've been very attentive in all the lectures, you're going to go far, man. What are you, like 15? How old are you?
I'm 21.
Yeah, it's 15, 16. All right, good job, man.
Well, Reese, I got a video that you can share with your mom because another season 6 student.
That was Cody.
Oh, sorry, Cody. Another season 6 student saw that time was an issue upon joining Autonomy as well, and I asked her about it and caught this video.
I have to say, I was surprised that it wasn't as much of a time commitment as I was fearing. That was one of the things that held me back at first from joining, but it turns out that you can commit as much time as you want. You can watch the replays if you didn't have time or couldn't sit through the whole thing. And I found that I've been really excited. Once those live lectures and Q&A sessions start, just really amped up and excited to do it. And it's just exciting to be working on myself, communicating with other people who are in a similar place in life where they're looking for success and they're trying to figure out what's held them back. And the community aspect is just probably the best thing about it, because as I speak with all this rich variety of people and their skills and where they're coming from, it's added a lot of value to my thought process as I'm planning my own future projects and business. The resources that Richard shares and that are shared with us throughout the course they seem to be perfect for me, like they were planned for me. So I feel like just in the first few weeks, I've improved my mindset and my motivation in terms of going after my goals, as well as clarified what those goals are, and my why, my reason, that really gets me to keep going and waking up every day wanting to be successful. I'm eager to learn.
So that's a fantastic video that was produced by Woody, who is a season 5 student. He's not on the call right now, but Stephanie, are you able to come online and come on camera and share a little bit about your experience this last season, your first season?
Yeah, definitely. So I was, up until this week, I was sad the season was ending. It's been that impactful for my life. So I was really happy to hear that there's just more to come, and kind of have been visualizing how I can put this to use in my life even more, and kind of want to model it after what Kara's done. I've been able to kind of put autonomy's focus into use in 2 separate aspects of my life. So I've been working for Autonomy Unlimited, started out copywriting, now have moved to media relations. And the other aspect that I plan to do is with my homeschooling focus. I'm a trained teacher, and then when the pandemic started, I was, unable to work in the public schools. So I've been learning more about being a parent educator, and I've got all these ideas that I want to share with other parent educators. So maybe creating my own course or some sort of offering to take to the market there. So yeah, in the meantime, I'm experiencing already that my life has completely leveled up, and it's mainly because of the community that I mentioned. Just being in almost daily conversations with the other community members in Autonomy has just opened up my mindset. And going to the lectures, you just learn so much information that you can put to use either immediately or just kind of expand your dreams.
Well, it's been fantastic to see how much you've grown in this first season of joining Autonomy. I saw your potential. We found each other through the Freedom Cell Network, and Stephanie, turns out she lives like 15 miles away from me. And we started meeting and kind of working on our mutual aid groups. But I saw, untapped potential. And so I told Stephanie about Autonomy and had her go through the obstacle course, check it out. I think she got halfway through, and then the doubt started to creep in about how you just didn't think you had enough time to be able to take on this large, extensive course.
Right. So at the time, I was taking children into the home as like a little homeschool pod. And I just didn't see, I had that scarcity mindset of this is going to be an extra thing to add, But now what I'm seeing is that it's a way to escape from that time constraint and bring my offer from one, myself, to many.
And I'm especially excited about this because I have a 3-year-old, and I've been looking for some sort of tutor to be able to, privately teach my daughter, and possibly like a pod that she's a part of. And so I saw Stephanie as kind of the perfect fit for that, but I wanted Stephanie to have the resources and the methods and educational frameworks that you're able to get access to in the University of Reason by going through Autonomy. And so to hear her say yes, and that she was interested in doing this, it's checking off some really big goals and projects in my life to be able to take care of my family, surround myself with people that have autonomy in their lives. And now, being able to teach the next generation is like one of my biggest priorities of being able to set that up and be able to take care of her.
I'm really glad that I did end up saying yes, because before that I was kind of more of these I guess employee mentality. Like I just didn't see the options in front of me in terms of digital marketing. So yeah, it's completely opened up my world. So thank you.
Awesome. So Stephanie had a journalism background. She was academically trained in that. And I saw an opportunity in our marketing agency of a role that needed to be filled of doing press releases and now what we're calling media relations, where Stephanie can contact and reach out on behalf of content creators, influencers, and people with businesses and projects to be able to get them onto podcasts, to be able to get them onto speaking engagements. And I set her up with an opportunity. She picked up the ball, ran with it, scored a touchdown there. And now she's just refining her process and being able to help more and more people, ideally in the Liberty community, to be able to grow. And you know, we set up these marketing funnels, which is the framework of, you know, accepting traffic, putting an offer in front of them, and being able to go into an offer that where value is exchanged. But what Stephanie is able to add to that is really like rocket fuel to being able to get people on podcasts and in front of large audience and bringing in this like organic traffic, where before we didn't have this service to be able to pass on to our clients. And yeah, I couldn't be more pleased with the results that Stephanie's getting.
Yeah,
She reached out to me and sorry, go ahead,
I was
Richard.
just gonna say, before when we needed it, you guys would come to me and I have to reach out. And then I don't reach out on behalf of myself because I'm reaching out on behalf of other people all the time. And then, you know, there's a graduate from season 6 who had a project and he's also a client of AU, and Stephanie hopped on board, and all of a sudden my client's schedule is filled with interviews and promotion for his project. And I said, oh, I need that too. So then she started booking for me. And yeah, media relations is someplace that we didn't, you know, we had a need, but we didn't even really recognize it. But then when Joshua was evaluating talent that's coming through, he's like, oh, you know, he's seeing potential. And with a couple steps in the right direction and a little guidance and a couple, like, you know, first, here's how you do it, and you're off to the races. Now she's autonomous, and we're all getting value from that exchange.
Joshua is excellent at determining where people should go and noticing their skills. I've noticed that about you, Joshua.
Well, thank you. And that video that you guys saw was put together by Woody, and the same thing kind of happened with him, where he was a graduate and he was getting out of his 9-to-5 job. He came to me and said, hey, man, I could really, you know, I'd like to apply my skills in a way that I can generate revenue. And he was a graphic artist. He did animation and had video editing skills to start with. So I tossed him a video, just like what you saw with Stephanie, of, you know, that was a 5-minute testimonial that I asked Stephanie to do early on in the season. And he took that 5 minutes, distilled it down into the most powerful 3 minutes of that testimonial, added the graphics and they're called hard captions into the footage, so that we now have like a good, you know, video that we can share with others. Cody, like, you could toss that to your mom and let her know, you know, you can remove excuses from that. And he then developed those skills to be able to knock out those promotional videos for us. Then you know, he showed proficiency and dependability in being able to do those under a time constraint and being able to keep up with what I was asking. And then Stefan Verstappen's course, we produced it, we got it all filmed, and I noticed Stefan Verstappen, he didn't have a great camera, and he happened to put his microphone like up in front of his face the whole presentation. And so watching a 45-minute presentation of a person just talking like this wasn't the most engaging way to be able to convey that information. So I tossed it over to Woody and said, hey, man, would you mind cleaning this up and applying some B-roll, which is industry terms for adding some additional videos that complement what he's saying to visually bring it up into to help convey what's being said in an engaging way. And so we paid Woody to go through all of Stefan's course. And we paid him handsomely for that because of how much time it took. But it was well worth it to make that course that much more engaging. And, some of the things are kind of dry, learning about the legal structure for mutual aid groups, but now it's done so in a visually stimulating manner. So another
It was
excellent.
like this, Joshua. If you let the psychopaths into your group, it's over. They'll tear it apart. I have a test to weed out the psychopaths. Yeah, Woody did a great job. And doesn't Woody also teach oil painting art on Monday nights? He's doing something like that. He's a very multi-talented guy.
That's right. Yeah, he started his own. It's like course ongoing classes on teaching people how to draw.
That's why I'm so stoked that we have lifetime access, because I haven't been able to make it to Woody's painting classes on Mondays and some of the other classes like the Spiritual Revolution meeting, and I want to start going to those.
That's with Joanna Whitley too, right?
Yep. Another, I think she's a season 3 graduate. They teamed up and now they're putting together content, offering out there in the world. I know they got a lead magnet website going and being able to apply what they've learned in autonomy.
Actually, they're working with Jeff Medine, who's a tragedy and hope artist who has a gallery in Boulder, Colorado. And they're all doing an art show July 1st. It's for Truth Art. And Jeff needed somebody to do media relations. He's like, I need to reach out to Truth Artists. Do you know someone who can help me? And I referenced and recommended Stephanie. So that's on her plate as an offer. I don't know if she works out a deal with him or not. But I said, she might be willing to help you for exchange of a really good testimonial so she could get more clients for media relations. And, he probably has a small budget. So there's probably a good thing that can work out there.
Yeah, thank you. I emailed him earlier today. I'm super excited to work on that.
There you go.
Opportunities plenty.
You might be able to, if you help him find a way into the course somehow. He's been trying to get in for a couple seasons. He's a really cool dude.
Okay.
That's how it happens. People get mentioned, they get recommended, and magic starts happening. Projects start coming together. People start working together. They have the tools all laid out in front of them. They got support where they need it. They got the dojo rooms that they can practice in. It's a beautiful thing.
I think we're going to need a media relations department. I'm going to need some assistance in the upcoming months and years. So I meant what I said. I'm going to try and follow in Kara's footsteps and learn what I can over the next couple of years and try to, share that knowledge and get some assistance.
The rule, if you came up with the idea, you got to implement it. So good job. You're in charge of that team. Let Joshua and I know when we need to come to that meeting.
I've got a good model to follow in Kara, so will do.
Thank you.
Thomas Friedman, this is your second season going through Autonomy. How has the difference that you've experienced been from the first time you went through versus what you've been able to accomplish in your second season?
Well, for me, I did start in season 5, but I didn't really take hold of it. I was so busy. I'm one of these people that had reluctance to really participate because of being involved with this project I've been doing called the Pirate Box, and so I didn't really engage fully. I went to a handful of lectures and maybe 10 or 15% of the coursework, because I was just too busy with other things to devote to it. But when season 6 rolled around, I said, that's got to stop. I've got to change my focus and really dedicate myself and get cracking with the autonomy curriculum. So I did, and I've maintained that, and here I'm graduating. So it was successful. Now, for me, my biggest takeaway from the course was that session that Richard and Phoenix did. And that told me that there's a whole nother way of conducting sales, a total shift in my perspective about sales. It's going to take a while before I can fully integrate that and get in that mindset of really focusing and listening to other people to be able to figure out what their issues are, to be able to help them. But that was such a showstopper. And I mean, it was such a change in my attitude towards sales that I think that's going to be my biggest takeaway from the course.
Oh, double muted. Well, nice, Thomas. I'm glad you stuck through it. I'm glad that you were able to have enough self-awareness to not, get frustrated and just walk away from the information overload, and being able to, stay focused, keeping one foot moving in front of the other to make progress.
Yeah, that's what it took. That's what it takes. So you really got to be dedicated, because there's, like others have said, huge fire hose of information. And I want to give a shout out to my friend there, James Mello, who, as he mentioned earlier, gave me some pointers, gave me some good kudos about the Do It Live, which was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed playing those clips out of Grand Theft World and other places throughout Autonomy that week, and it was something I had never done before. But it went off pretty good. I thought it came off well, and I very appreciate James stepping up and saying that he got such a benefit out of it. That really gives me a lot of that's very positive to hear that. Thank you, James. I appreciate that.
Well, when I came up with the idea for a Do It Live Autonomy podcast, I just wanted to capture what was going on each week. And then the opportunity to have co-hosts and then hand off the hosting position. I got my hands are in a lot of projects. So being able to now pass this or open this up each season to students and give them an opportunity of joining and hosting a podcast that already has a framework, already has an audience, and you're already, going through, you're an expert on the topic because you're going through the material that week, that you just need to highlight what you got the most out of it. Really gives a easy way for people to get into podcasting, give it a try, have support, have a lot of people, rooting for you. And no matter what technical level you're at, you can just show up and start talking. Or you can trigger complexity and try to do some screen shares and bring in clips from the week. So ideally, it's a place where you can continue to grow and develop and learn new skills. And then, as you've heard, be able to apply those things on your own projects, on other people's projects, how to make money doing that stuff. So it really is a great tool for the community.
I remember the very first Do It Live broadcast. It was you and Tony Rarink. You remember that?
Refresh my memory, because
no, that was it. The both of you were the main two hosts. I remember Tony going, yeah, or something like that. And I kind of stood aloof, I was watching to see how it went. And I think it was the second podcast that I jumped in and helped out. But as they say in Spanish, aquellos días. Yeah, the good old days.
Hey, and Tony's not here, but season 1, he noticed that a lot of people would need websites, so he created a hosting company. And then he discovered a love and passion for growing hemp, so he came to us and said, hey, do you guys want to buy a hosting company? So we did. And then we were able to hire Ferdinand, and all these other things happened because he witnessed the need, and he didn't have to be custodian long term, but he got it started. And now we got all sorts of clients, including me, on that hosting, Autonomy Unlimited hosting.
And he really helped me out to get my Pirate Box contest site loaded right around Pork Fest time. So he stepped up and got that done within a week or so. I mean, a fantastic job in a short period of time. So my thanks go out to Tony a lot. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't want to speak too much for Tony, but I do remember him saying specifically was before Autonomy, he didn't do much. He said he didn't have any direction. He's played a lot of video games and just kind of had no direction in life. Then Autonomy did that for him, and now his life has taken a turn for the better in so many ways. So Tony, I hope he listens to this at some point on the replay. Such a great guy.
Yeah, it's great to have, blazed paths of the graduates that have come before us. They've really helped out with the infrastructure that we all get to experience. And then, podcasting was something I didn't have any experience in. Public speaking was something that I've always, been afraid of. And Do It Live podcast is a great way to just get some experience, and then you get comfortable, and you can't help but improve yourself. So look forward to next season and being able to open it back up and seeing all the students that are going to give it another shot. All right.
You know what occurred to me before we get off here is that there are, other like self-help and business help and professionalism courses out there, but autonomy is more like a concentrated environment and community for freedom and just advancing all of these projects and coming up with new ones using the tools that those are using against them.
It's true. Yeah. So it's an environment where you're able to learn about things, but also apply them and, get the support to not get discouraged and, give up on yourself.
Yeah. It's about more than just the individuals in the course. It's kind of like a little microcosm of I don't know. I guess I don't know how to put it into words, but it's just so much more than any other, online course that you could take, the effects that it has.
Well, you're a writer, so I know by the 7th draft of that, it's going to be spot on.
Okay.
Well, a very exciting thing that we got to do this last year was go to PorcFest. PorcFest is a Porcupine Freedom Festival over in New Hampshire. Myself and my family, we hopped in a camper van and drove cross country to go experience this for the first time. And it was an amazing, amazing event because it was a Autonomy Graduation where autonomy students all gathered on their own volition, and we came together and formed an environment where people were able to make offers and make value exchange in all their different forms. So I got a little clip of the last one, and then I'm really excited for 2022, where autonomy graduates are able to take what they've learned, what they're building, and take it out to a market in a liberty-minded festival.
Well, technically, you use a thermometer, but I've cooked so many over the years that it's good. These are also, because they're smash burgers, they cook really fast. They're really good to cook on a grill like this. And we get the cheese. Now this is the key right here. You got to make enough cheese to cover the burger. You got to get a little cheese off the sides because that's going to be all crunchy for him. And then we're gonna put this bacon on top, like this. Right? Yeah. Now you would use tongs probably. You do a clinic over here? Yeah, smash burgers. Boiling bacon, no problem. Now we put a little sprinkle of cheese on top for looks. Yeah. Right? Just like that. And then we take the water, we spray around it, not on it, not on it. And that's gonna seal the deal right there. Now,
So the Great Reset, there's a conspiracy to create a totalitarian government, and the Great Reset essentially is that in a new veneer, in fancier, brighter clothing. But the big difference is now there's the technology available to create this panopticon surveillance society.
It's a lot of fun, as you can see, and I'm really excited to, get back in the real, meet autonomy students. I think we had probably, 30, 40 autonomy students all show up. We were working alongside of each other. Rich brought that kitchen, the Autonomy Cafe. We were slinging burgers like the whole time. We generated a lot of revenue. Hopefully, I think we recouped what Rich put into it, but learned a lot.
Graduates who worked there all got paid. So people who wanted to make money or needed money or whatever, there was jobs there. It was like running a small business for the week. And we had a graduation dinner for autonomy grads that were there. So we had steak and lobster, and that was kind of unplanned. We just had the speaker tent and we had all these people that showed up. So we're like, let's have a big autonomy graduation dinner.
And I was in, heaven. I got to meet Ernie and go on his bus and check out how badass his bus is. Got to, hear presentations for people that I've, been watching podcasts of. And building those relationships with people that I've been engaging with online throughout the years was it was literally priceless. And I now have forged relationships with people all over the United States, all over the world, with people I trust my family with, people that I could crash at their house if I was in a pinch. But those relationships really are priceless. So coming in this spring, 2022, that's going to be our next graduation event, where you're going to be able to take what you learned in autonomy and take it out in the real world. All right, we have a few minutes left. Does anybody else want to share any aha moments they've had from this last season before we wrap up? Season 6, do it live.
I'll share something.
What's up, Rashad?
Hey, Rashad. How's it going, man?
Good. How you guys doing? I just want to say I want to thank all you guys for building a course like this. I think my aha moment was the communication aspect. Really the schooling part, and how schooling has kind of brainwashed us and transformed our minds, taken away our confidence, and hasn't really trained us to be self-sufficient and to be like more docile. But once getting in, before I even joined this course, I was very skeptical. I've always been skeptical about self-development books and courses. And when my mother got The Secret, she recommended it to me, and I took a glance at it. And I just thought it was foolishness, because it was like, just put your thoughts in the universe and things will happen. And so I never gravitated towards self-development stuff. I got turned off. But when I found out about this, I was just very skeptical. And I ended up looking at the 19 skills document. And I think what got me was that I wasn't being given too much information. Like Lisa wasn't like trying to sell me. She wasn't high pressure or anything like that. So there was still this mystery, and there was this sense of intrigue that was there and curiosity. And so I was like, let me just jump in. And it exceeded my expectations, like the knowledge that Richard has, and just the resources that you guys have. The community. I've never seen anything like it. And this is my first time doing something like this, joining a course like this. So I was completely blown away. And I salute all you guys. It's a great community. I know people in my local church, and I can't even say that I'm this close to some of the people that I see on a day-to-day basis. Or I don't see this much support from people that I know personally, in my neighborhood, my church, even my friends, you know what I mean? And you guys are very resourceful. I've been working lately, so I haven't been taking as much advantage as I should, but I've taken a lot of, this course has inspired me, and it's motivated me to think more to be more conscious about my daily life. Even, you know, the fact that you guys teach people how to think or like, you know, how to learn. And so everything is structured, and I appreciate all of it. And I've gotten tons of value, and I have nothing but high praises. And I'm definitely going to recommend it to a lot of my friends. I have been. So I definitely want to promote the course, but salute to all of you guys.
Thanks a lot, Rashad. And I give you credit for asking some really astute questions during season 6. That's how I remember you. We've never spoken directly, but I said, man, when Rashad unmutes, you're going to get some good quality, value-adding questions coming at relevant to everybody. So saludos to you as well, man.
Yeah, one thing I forgot to mention is that in some of the lectures, I've taken like some of that information with real estate, and I've applied it to working and taking action, because you guys talk about, you know, taking massive action. So I started cold calling people. I actually closed on a house 2 weeks ago, so I got a little commission from that. And you know, that was partly because of the lessons that you guys teach. So I've seen results. So yeah, thank you.
That was well said, Rashad. And I always welcomed your skepticism, because I'm proud of what's on the other side of asking those questions and finding the answers. And I think you did it for a lot of other students by asking those questions as well, man. And don't beat yourself up because you missed a couple lectures or whatever, because you hung in there and you're here right now and you're not quitting on yourself. And that's all you need to know. You're good.
Cool. Appreciate it.
Yeah, the ride's just begun. So look forward to seeing you next season. What Rashad was mentioning was the 19 Essential Skills for Success Not Taught in School. This was a PDF that the students actually put together. This originally was just one slide out of the hundreds and hundreds that are on in the autonomy lectures. But Rich had developed and identified these 19 skills not taught in school. And we saw that and we decided to make a nice lead magnet out of that, because this information needed to be out there. And it was cool to hear you say that, Rashad, that it wasn't too much information. It was just enough to be able to, sound like give you some clarity about skills that's not taught in school. Well, each student was gravitated to one or two of these, and they wrote up. And so each page is written by a different student coming from their own perspective. It was sent over to our graphic designer, who was able to make this beautiful, beautiful PDF. And so you can get this for yourself by just going to getautonomy.info. And down here, you'll be able to see this great option to be able to download this for yourself. And it's a great place to start, because, see how many of these skills that you have been able to cultivate, through your education or schooling experience. And, you might be surprised at some of the ones that you haven't been able to put in your toolbox yet. Well, this has been a fantastic recap. I'm a little bit sad that season 6 is starting to come to a close, but, we're just getting started. Everybody is now being is now understanding, their potential and, things that bring them purpose. They can also make money doing. And so we are going to be helping them out with their projects. The community's here to support you in, vetting. Is that even a good idea to begin with? Or is this something that, has some potential to it? Just like what Phoenix was talking about, with his conflict resolution. But this is just the beginning. We're going to be taking a couple weeks off to enjoy the holidays, and then we're going to hit the ground running back at the beginning of the season. Season 7 is now officially open, so if you're interested in jumping on board, there's plenty to do before the season kicks off early spring 2022. So go ahead and get on the call with our sales team, who are graduates of the course. They can answer any of your questions, and you can really gain the success that you've heard repeatedly on this podcast for yourself. So hope to see you in season 7. Everybody else, we got bonus episodes coming up in the coming weeks at the start of the new year. And there's plenty to do and plenty to practice with in the dojo room. So I look forward to your continued participation. Reach out if you need anything, and there you got a whole community that's here to support you. Chris, thanks so much for co-hosting.
Yeah, see you all at Sunday Q&A tomorrow. And wonderful episode, everybody. I love listening to Autonomy Radio.
Thanks, everybody. Oh, can I say it? Can I say it? Thanks for tuning in and not dropping out.
Make sure to subscribe wherever you're watching this on, be it YouTube or Odyssey or all the alternative networks that we're being broadcast to, thanks to Content Safe. And make sure to, reach out and talk to an autonomy student if you want further answers to your questions. And we hope to see you in season 7.